From its powerful opening, which was used as the trailer, to its picturesque vistas and gut-punching score, The Lion King has earned its royal regard. And of course, we have to remake it. So this week, we see the opening of Disney's quote-unquote live-action version of The Lion King. Well, we're gonna go back to its animated predecessor and try to see why The Lion King was the masterpiece it is, and the effect that it had in animation, especially at the Disney studios during the mid-90s. Now, of course, Kyle Nash isn't with us at the moment because he's on assignment in the savannah trying to get us the inside scoop. How's it going, Kyle?
What's going on, guys? Listen, loving the assignment out here in the African savannah. What better way to celebrate the Lion King to send a guy who is a Leo in the first place, astrologically speaking, as a lion to cover the Lion King? I mean, what are you going to do? Send a Pisces? That would be quite fishy. Ha! No. Anyway, don't judge me. Anyways, so listen, The Lion King, man, I gotta tell you, this movie, for being a secondary project, looked pretty great animation-wise. I mean, if you need no more proof than beyond the intro, which basically doubled as the movie's trailer, right? You have the music in there in the movie score version of Circle of Life, not the Elton John version. I mean, listen, I'm sorry, Sir Elton, and as according to Will and Grace, you are the godfather of the gay mafia. I wish no transgression, but yeah, this version was better. Anyways, so listen, that opening intro sequence that doubles as the trailer for this movie is amazing. And it's like the first 3 minutes or so. It's not very long. After that great music and setup, it's crowned, your pardon expression, it's the Lion King after all, with the boom and the Lion King logo. Like that boom. I had to watch the Spanish version in high school in my Spanish class, and I'll never forget that El Rey León translates to Lion King, even though that was kind of a French accent. I said it with, don't judge me. I'm on assignment. Wait. Anyways, so you know when that boom happened in the theater, some smart ass out there like stood up and was like, okay, great movie, bye everybody. That whole segment could wrap up as basically a short film in itself. Not only was it a great way to set the tone for the entirety of this feature film, but it presents a case that this was, while it was considered a secondary project, it was ready to provide you some strong animation and much more as a presentation.
When you say the name The Lion King, honestly, for me, I just get a happiness, there's a warmness in my heart. It was probably the first movie I saw in theaters twice and loved it every time. The Lion King is just perfection to me.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters as well, almost back to back with a similarly toned Forrest Gump. Both of them were 1994's biggest box office winners. Of course, Forrest Gump walked away with the Best Picture. I think that The Lion King, like its predecessor in Beauty and the Beast, could have been nominated for Best Picture. It wasn't.
It had everything that you need, man. It had a great story, a great redemption. The prodigal son returns. Spoilers if you didn't know. I'm saying it had everything that you need. And how do you not give the statue to the creators of Rafiki? Come on, baby.
So The Lion King is, generally speaking, an updated version of Bambi with Shakespearean overtones. It's economic in many ways in its storytelling, with a brisk pace, edgier themes, and epic pathos. With Scar's opening line, "Life's not fair, is it?" serving as an acidic rebuttal to the opening song, The Circle of Life. The film just injects this dangerous line of cynicism that kind of prepares for the gut punch that's in its story.
It's like a roller coaster ride, bro. Like, it really is. Like, and just with that opening line, that's just the first little whoosh. And you think, that you don't really know what's coming. And just looking at Scar and how vital he was, like, he's to me he's one of my favorite big bads from Disney. Like, he commanded the screen whenever he was on. I mean, except for when he wasn't, but he was on top for a lot of that movie.
And Jeremy Irons in particular kind of just is deliciously deviant. Scar is just pure striking evil.
Am I my brother's keeper? Like, the reason that I call him the most cutthroat is because he went at his brother. and he was prepared. Look, he put a hit out on his nephew. Like, how cutthroat do you have to be?
He didn't want to get his hands dirty.
No, he didn't want to get his hands dirty, but he did. I'm just saying.
I wonder if the scar on his eyes represents the one time in his life where he did get his hands dirty and he learned from it and decided to get henchmen.
I think that's exactly what it was. I don't know who he got, who he got into it, who laid hands on him, but he learned really quickly that sometimes he can't win the fight. Obviously, he couldn't beat Mufasa square up, which is why he had to do what he did.
Watching The Lion King when I was a kid, it was a little bit after I had seen Bambi for the first time, and I couldn't help thinking that in many ways this was the contemporary Bambi. Let's just be honest, the life structure, coming of age, the circle of life, etc. You're gonna have very familiar beats. The Lion King added a Shakespearean quality to it, and a villain. In Bambi, it's man as the unseen villain. Heck, the first time I saw The Lion King, before I knew that it was the hyenas in the elephant graveyard in the shadowy place, I kind of considered for a few minutes, is a shadowy place where man is?
Ah, nice twist.
But I kind of like the fact that they stuck with the animals and their hierarchy. It kind of helps sell that illusion. They're anthropomorphic. Pumbaa looks a lot cuter than most warthogs, hence the remake version of Pumbaa, which is much closer to reality, isn't as appealing to me at the very least. We'll see how it looks in the film, but
it doesn't help whose voice in the mind. What can I say except
no.
You're welcome.
Somewhere Kyle is on Savannah, and the sun just beamed from the heavens upon him. He's like, what is this? Somebody just made an anti-Seth Rogen joke? It must be hilarity by default. And
the thing is, I got no beef with Seth Rogen, but I know my dude Kyle does, so I'm guilty by association.
You know, guys, something else I wanted to point about this film, like the whole performance is by animals, and it still delivers in powerful scenes and stuff, telling me that the dialogue is simply great. Like, I see the characters walking around, and I kind of want to get into my Steve Irwin voice. It's like, crikey, look over there across the African savannah. I can see over there. I believe it's a lion, but he looks almost serpentine in his movements. Shakes around. He's got yellow and green eyes, almost like he's suffering a bout of feral jaundice or something like that. I don't know. Crikey, I think he sees. Oh, blimey! Oh, hickus, fickus, get off me, mother! Oh, God,
this was Kyle Nash's final appearance on Hilarity by Default. Luckily, he died in the most hilarious way possible by default. It touches me too. This is a really sad moment, despite the huge smile on my face. But
that was my dude.
So a little segment I like to call the Bambi King. Both of our stories open as the forest/jungle animals arrive for the birth of the new prince, as they sleep comfortably in the bosoms of their mothers, and their fathers stand dramatically on top of a rock. As our heroes grow older, they form a strong yet playful bond with their soon-to-be doomed parents, and they meet the teasing girls that will later become their mates. Tragedy befalls when one of their beloved parents are brutally murdered. One gets trampled to death, while another one gets shot and presumably becomes a venison plate. Our heroes heartbreakingly search for their deceased parents through the mist or snow before learning of their terrible fates. We flash forward some time where we meet our heroes near the prime of their adulthood, where they reunite with their childhood crushes and become lovers through the magic of waterfalls. Shortly thereafter, a devastating fire erupts, creating a harrowing, catastrophic climax. There is a terrific battle engaged with a dreadful foe that is defeated when they are unceremoniously flipped off a cliff. Finally, our stories come full circle with the birth of a new baby/babies, as our heroes stand atop yet another rock, looking on like their fathers before them.
Bro, like I haven't thought about Bambi. I think Bambi is just one of those punchlines that you drop whenever someone says a joke about, what movie killed the mom in the first 5 seconds. But bro, like you just went and laid down track for track how both those movies are exact cousin to one another. You got the forest in one, you got the jungle in the other. I'm saying I have a new respect for Bambi that I didn't have before, because based on the way you describe it compared to The Lion King, I mean, like it deserves some love. I mean, it doesn't have Scar, which again, let me repeat if you didn't already hear me, Scar is that dude. Okay. But Bambi deserves some love. I mean, look, I didn't. It's to me, Bambi is a little bit more kiddie. I mean, you got Thumper. And when I compare Thumper to Timon and Pumbaa, I mean, Timon and Pumbaa is a little bit cooler sidekick to have, but line for line, you got it.
You bring up an interesting point. In many ways, the Lion King is the edgier version of Bambi. And Bambi, the mother gets shot. You never see her again. You don't even see her fall. The Lion King takes that to the next step. Now you see the surprisingly unmutilated carcass of Mufasa, and he nuzzles with him. I mean, it's heartbreaking to the nth degree. Mufasa's death in this, honestly, I think only Old Yeller surpasses it. Having to shoot your own dog is a step beyond.
Swallow this.
Bambi, in many ways, is the spiritual predecessor to The Lion King. The Lion King took that story and took it to the next degree. I think that in Bambi's case, the first half of that film is overtly sentimental. It is cute to a cloying degree, and that is meant specifically to contrast to the adult story in the second half of the film. When I was a kid, I loved the first half of Bambi. We got bored to tears by the second half, with the exception of the fire scene in the climax. As an adult, that second half really, really strikes home. And I think it is one of those films. I think The Lion King also applies that you appreciate to a different degree at any age, just due to the coming of age aspect of the stories.
You're correct. And the points that you drop, it is absolutely spot on with it. And you said it when you're talking about wherever you are in your life, you can connect with this film. And I still watching it, you see, when you're a kid, you're all about when he's running around with his friends, he's learning how to pounce, he's working on his roar, and then going through teens, questioning yourself, insecurity, and then eventually you have to become a man, and you have to take back your claim, and you got to knock boots, and he knocked them boots.
Everybody has the hyenas they need to face.
Oh no, everybody's got some hyenas. Everybody got some haters. That's what hyenas are. They're just haters. Everybody got haters. Don't let them get you down.
There were protests. There were protests from some nature lovers for its bad depiction of hyenas at the time.
Which I don't understand. I mean, that's just people wanting to be upset for something, because I mean they do sound like that, and they do mutilate stuff in packs. What did they do wrong besides making Whoopi Goldberg one? And I love Whoopi as a hyena. That was cool.
Seriously, I said before, Jeremy Irons, deliciously deviant. Rowan Atkinson as a zoo. He's the feathered Blackadder to the kingly James Earl Jones. There's a reason they kept James Earl Jones for the remake. One of the smartest decisions they probably made for this new one. JTT, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, is appropriately rambunctious as young Simba. If anything, I think the only slight misstep it has when it comes to casting is, well, how could I put it any other way than, well, when I think of a big, brawny, beefy Lion King, I don't necessarily think of Matthew Broderick.
How did I know you were going to go there, bro? You enlisted everybody off, and I know you were going to have a problem with Timon or Pumbaa.
Perfect.
Or Rafiki. So I'm like, okay, this man is about to attack Matthew Broderick. Ferris Bueller. I love you, bro. I got mad love for Ferris Bueller all day. One of my favorite movies as a kid.
No, but Ferris Bueller, once again, doesn't exactly remind me of, previously mentioned beefy, brawny Lion King.
No.
He's not terrible, and his presence doesn't ruin the film in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to go to any kind of drastic level, but is he probably one of the few weaker aspects of the film? I think so. There is kind of a nondescript quality to his acting.
How do you have Mufasa's James Earl Simba? Like, how do you go from that to Matthew Broderick?
It's like Darth Vader having a kid that whines about power converters.
I would expect a little bit more from the spawn of Mufasa.
Okay, now that we're on the topic of Mufasa real quick, can I just point out that this film features one of the best representations of fatherhood, especially during the 90s, where every dad, whether it's an animation or a freaking sitcom, is just a bumbling idiot that just doesn't understand his kids. God damn. I as an adult now, I appreciate Mufasa in ways I never really did as a kid. I mean, holy crap, the hell he went through to fight for Simba's survival during the wildebeest scene. My God.
True. Now, I will say, you talk about fathers in the 90s. We did have one father doing it right in the 90s, but we don't talk about him anymore. So I will say that you are absolutely right. Mufasa represented dadhood. As we look back on Father's Day, I'm saying that was what being a dad was. Forget that they're lions. I mean, a father is supposed to tell his kid how to survive without him. And I feel like Mufasa tried to start doing that. He just got cut short.
It's kind of funny in retrospect to consider the fact that Pocahontas and The Lion King were in production at the same time, and that a lot of the top animators from Disney opted to work on Pocahontas, being viewed as the more prestigious. After the nomination for Best Picture in Beauty and the Beast, Disney was now eyeing that golden Best Picture trophy, and they were hoping to get that with Pocahontas. It kind of blew everybody away that The Lion King became the big behemoth that it was. To this day, it's still the most successful 2D animated film of all time. There is something truly cinematic about the animation in The Lion King. One of my favorite moments, it's a tiny one, the rack focus between the ants on the branch and the zebras. It's very immersive and grand in scope.
You talk about just monumentous, just powerful scenes. I mean, there's none greater than when Simba looks up and sees the clouds move and his father appear. The detail that they put into it definitely add, to the experience overall.
When it comes to the songs of The Lion King, now this is one of the most popular animated soundtracks of all time. And for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to separate the score and the songs. The score, in many ways, I think is the best score from the Disney Renaissance. It has a power to it. The music in many ways brings out nature as a character of its own in this film. Not only is it moving in terms of emotion, but it's used as a very powerful storytelling tool.
When you see the opening scene, and the orchestra, it's building up more and more and more, and then you finally get the presentation and you hear the horns come in, and it's so powerful, and it really does take me back to another James Earl Jones movie, and Coming to America. The use of the horns with that one is just something about they didn't strip Africa away with the music. I felt like the music embraced what Africa is, which is powerful and beautiful, but yet you're riding the wave. Whenever you watch that film, it wraps you up like a warm blanket, like a snuggie. And it just lays you down, and then it shakes you every once in a while, but it lets you know yourself.
Oh my God, does it shake you? The opening string that foreshadows the wildebeest stampede is haunting. In many ways, I like what you just said about the use of the music to really build and strengthen the setting of the film, in this particular case, African. Compare it to Aladdin's Arabian themes, or the French influence of Beauty and the Beast, or the gospel of ancient Greek Hercules. Wait a minute. Damn you, Hercules. Anyway.
Hercules!
No! An inspired idea nevertheless, terrible. Anyway, the songs, on the other hand, I don't consider any of them to be the top tier out of the Disney Renaissance. I do prefer a lot of the songs from Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, and Aladdin better. But that doesn't mean to say that these songs are terrible or anything. I mean, The Circle of Life, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, Be Prepared are amongst Disney's best. Be Prepared, which for a little bit seemed like it wouldn't even appear in this remake, now apparently it will be, thank God. One of the best Disney villain songs. The beat in that song, everything is just striking. We're not going to talk about Morning Report, that added 6th song. We'll save that for an episode of Deleted Disney. I have things to say about that song. But out of the 5 songs that are in the film, Circle of Life, incredible opening. To the point, I mean, it's such a strong opening that you doubt that the film can live up to it. It is that perfect. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Good Disney love song, but compared to A Whole New World or Beauty and the Beast or Kiss the Girl, it's on the lower end in comparison, but still very, very effective in my opinion. Like I said, Be Prepared, incredible. I Just Can't Wait to Be King. It's fun. I think in that particular case, the animated antics help strengthen that song. Hakuna Matata, I hate to say this, but I think it's actually one of the most overrated songs.
Stop.
I don't know what it is about Hakuna Matata. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was because it was so overplayed at the time. I don't hate the song. In fact, I think it's a good song. It just personally, in comparison to the other 4 songs in the movie, I think it's the weakest of the bunch. That's the worst thing I will say about it.
So I'm gonna let you live.
Oh, thanks, Hakuna Matata.
I know one guy in particular who has he set his whole mantra up on Hakuna Matata, bro. Like that one, right? So there are people out there that will gut you for that statement, but the staying power of those songs, it helps by the fact that you got Elton John lending his vocal talents. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? I mean, I've rubbed to that song. You know, I mean, I can't say that.
So you're saying that somebody felt the love that night?
Somebody felt the love, you know? Somebody felt the love. So I'm not.
Were a meerkat and a warthog somewhere in a corner crying their eyes off?
No, man, they were taking notes.
Oh,
Be Prepared is one of the all-time big bad songs. I don't even want my villain singing. The only thing that would have taken Killmonger off as being one of my top Marvel villains is if he had sung. Then I would have been like, get the hell out of here. And I love Killmonger. So I'm saying, like, Scar, he sang and he let them know, like, he's telling his people, be prepared because we're about to take it over. And he was so fresh with it. So that one to me is that one is my favorite song in the film. I wish they would have gave Rafiki the opportunity to lay something down, because he would have gave you something psychedelic, but
he does sing Asante-san, a squash. I don't know. That should have been the Elton John song that played over the end credits on repeat. Now you got me thinking about how Hakuna Matata, how people base their lives on this mantra when the film makes it painfully clear that this is the wrong lesson to learn. If anything, there should have been a song that was much, much more catchy about being responsible and taking your kingdom back. I don't know what the Swahili words for taking your kingdom back would be. I doubt they would be as memorable as Hakuna Matata, which must have been a pain in the ass to write. What the hell rhymes with Matata?
Hakuna Frittata!
This now takes us to the big final question of the evening. Is The Lion King required viewing? And I'm actually going to let Kyle take this first. He's somewhere off in the savannah. If he hasn't been mauled by a lion yet...
All I can say to my now defeated opponent is maybe he should be prepared next time. No, so I guess we're at that portion of the show with you guys checking on me here. And now it's desired to ask if required. My thoughts and my vote will be bad. Be prepared. See, I was prepared. Don't judge me. Anyways, listen, guys, I went over it earlier that The Lion King certainly belongs in the golden age. It's obviously beautiful, and there's a lot of power there beyond the visuals, too. The dialogue is great. It's only animals, and I have that going. But guys, and I'm leaving out the Sir Elton John scores. He's Sir Elton John for a reason, but Disney does like Disney does and made the mainstream artist recordings of these songs far inferior to what you get within the actual movie. Just like Beauty and the Beast, just like Aladdin, and the list probably goes on. It only really starts to solve for that in the later installments of the movie. We've been over that in different episodes, but the punchline here is this, guys. The complete package that is The Lion King is top to bottom great. Watching this movie again, I forget the few exchanges between Mufasa and Scar. We see a true and well-designed, emotionally drawing character arc from Simba. Aside from the fact his voicing is kind of like that of a college stoner later in the movie with Matthew Broderick. But the point is this. There's so much good going on there that you have to say it's required viewing. You have all that greatness there. Scar as a villain. Listen, individually, I've gone on and on about the movies having great villains being a big part of my vote, and you can't do any better than Jeremy Irons or Scar, and that's without him quoting Reversal of Fortune. Like, when you see Scar, you know he's bad, but it really actually does turn out you have no idea. The dude is serpentine in nature. The guy has green eyes to show off his jealousy throughout the movie, and during the singing of Be Prepared, basically the symbolism of he being some sort of devil giving an option to the hyenas who are otherwise soulless to take Pride Rock. There's so much going on there, and Be Prepared also being a great song. Thank you very much. And then we talk about that majestic opening that doubled as the movie's trailer. It was so majestic. Zazu looked good and was basically a bitch the rest of the episode. Be honest, folks. You tell me if Zazu was actually successful at stopping Simba from making it to the elephant garden, or excuse me, the elephant graveyard, do the bad elements of that movie happen? Do we even have a stampede that kills Mufasa that day? I'm just saying. Now, that all being said, without that, we don't have the movie. And one of the most heart-wrenching moments in all of animated cinema for many of us of this age group that we are, in that little cub curling up to a freaking corpse that's his dad. It's very... Anyways, so much power top to bottom on this thing. Once again, we have an example of the Academy Award nominee being the worst song from the film, because a lot of the other songs are stronger, except for maybe Hakuna Matata, which, listen, it's damn catchy. I got zero beef with it. Matter of fact, the only beef I really have with this movie is I still can't go to Disney for breakfast and order a goddamn Hakuna Frittata. That should be a thing. Anyways, it's required viewing. If you didn't know, you're the problem. Carry on from there. Even Demos can't screw this one up. Freaking Major League's required viewing. I said it, bitch. Anyways, later on, guys.
First off, I'm not trying to catch a body. I do not want anybody to come at my head for this one. To me, it's easy. It absolutely is required. It's absolutely required.
For a second there, I thought you were going to go in the opposite direction. And I'm like, you heartless monster. Again.
Again, you know, I can only be a heartless monster for Poppins Mary. That's all. This one right here, this film right here, definitely not heartless. All over it. Love the story was great. We've talked about it already. This is one of those films that you can appreciate for all these different things. If you're a kid, boom, you got it. If you're coming up young in a preteen, teenage time, boom, you got it. Young 20s, you can still see that there is something that you have to have a balance between being responsible and having fun, because look, work-life balance is real. And if you're a parent, seeing what Mufasa and Sarabi went through as parents, I mean, that's real. There is something in this film for everybody. The music is great. The score is phenomenal. The characters, the people playing these characters, I don't know that they could have picked too many better people to play the roles. And James Earl Jones, if I haven't said his name enough, I'm going to say it again because I'm worried one day One day I'm going to turn on the Oscars and he's going to be in memoriam.
Oh,
So I want to show this man love while he is still alive. Seriously, like, bro, you talk. Folks have been up in arms about Will Smith being the genie versus Robin Williams. I could not imagine hearing Mufasa's voice and it being anybody else's other than James Earl Jones.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
No. How could I?
He meant the world to that role. He played it. And when you heard him speak, when you heard Mufasa speak, it makes sense as to now why anytime you hear the name Mufasa, you know who they're talking about. And I mean, they had the joke, Mufasa. Like that whole thing with the hyenas is just, I am in awe for this film. If I could recommend it twice, I would.
What can I say about The Lion King? Oh man, it's a masterpiece of Disney animation. It's the true peak of the Disney Renaissance. For me personally, I don't think it has the rewatchability of Disney's earlier, lighter fare from the Renaissance. I find Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin to be more rewatchable because at their heart, they're romantic comedies. That's not the point of The Lion King. The Lion King, it has piercing themes. Life, death, rebirth, redemption. They strike a rare, realistic chord in the Disney pantheon. Yeah, by far required. I can't speak highly of it enough. Is this gonna be one of the rare triple required?
That's a win. That is a win for you people. You, and yes, I said you people. You get to win. Go watch that movie.
All right, what do you guys think? What do you feel about the original Lion King? How do you feel about the upcoming live action remake? Are you looking forward to it? Do you have any trepidation about it? Let us know in the comments below. What other Disney films should we cover here on Required Viewing? And do you think The Lion King is one of the rare required viewings out there? Let us know. Of course, TJ, thanks as always for joining us. Where can we find you, good sir?
If you're looking for this guy, don't look too far. I'm easy to find on Twitter at Tokeo J. That's TOKEOJ. Dinner time is still kicking strong. I'm sitting back like a fat cat, man, even though I'm losing these LBs. I hope y'all recognize me in a couple months because I'm going to look like Demos.
Or better. I'm voting on better myself.
I'm a sexy bitch.
And of course, you can find Kyle in the links in the description below. You can find me on hilaritybydefault.com. Fun stuff practically every day. On Twitter at defaulthilarity. And on Facebook and Instagram, Hilarity by Default. And of course, you can find us here where life is hilarious by default.